Derrick Henry was ranked as the 12th best player in the 2013 college football recruiting class, so where the 11 recruits ranked higher than him now. Well, to start just one spot ahead of him at number 11 is Jonathan Allen, coming out of Ashburn, Virginia, who committed to play for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And overall, in his 4 seasons of college football at Alabama and the SEC, he was absolutely dominant. He won literally every single award in 2016, as he won the Lombardi Award, the Chuck Bednarik Award, and was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He had one of the greatest college football careers of all time, and then would go on to be selected 17th overall in the 2017 NFL Draft by Washington. And with Washington, he's become an extremely good player for them for the last 8 seasons, as he's 42 sacks and has made 2 Pro Bowls. And just cracking into the top 10 is Montravius Adams, coming out of Georgia, who committed to play for Auburn. And in his 4 seasons with the Auburn Tigers, he was good but never really that great, but he actually was a first-team All-SEC selection in 2016. And this allowed him to be selected in the 3rd round of the 2017 NFL Draft by the Green Bay Packers, and in his 4 years there, he didn't do very much. After this, he began to bounce around the NFL and played with the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024 and just re-signed on a 2-year contract extension. And at number 9 is Tre'Davious White, coming out of Shreveport, Louisiana, who committed to play for LSU. He immediately dominated in his true freshman season at LSU, having 55 tackles and 2 interceptions. He had 2 more good seasons before bursting on the scene in 2016, as he'd actually be named a first-team All-SEC selection, a consensus All-American. And this allowed him to be selected 27th overall in the 2017 NFL Draft by the Buffalo Bills. And he was immediately great with the Buffalo Bills, playing their first 7 seasons and becoming a first-team All-Pro, and even leading the NFL in interceptions one season and making 2 Pro Bowls. Sadly, though, in 2024, he was not brought back and signed with the Los Angeles Rams before they traded him off to the Ravens this season. That's where he's currently playing. And coming in at number 8 is Dorian Johnson, coming in at Belle Vernon, Pennsylvania, who committed to play for Pittsburgh. And he immediately became the Pittsburgh Panthers starting offensive lineman in his true freshman season there and was great. And in his senior season there in 2016, he absolutely dominated, as he be named a first-team All-ACC selection and a first-team All-American. And this allowed him to be selected in the 4th round of the 2017 NFL Draft by the Arizona Cardinals, but sadly he didn't do much there, beginning to bounce around the NFL and last played in the XFL in 2020. And at number 7 is Christian Hackenberg, coming out of Fork Union, Virginia, who committed to play for Penn State. And he was Penn State's immediate starter in his true freshman season there and had a solid year, throwing 20 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, as he'd be named the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. After this, Christian followed this up with 2 more solid but never really that amazing seasons at Penn State, but would still be drafted in the 2nd round of the 2016 NFL Draft based on potential by the Jets. Sadly, though, he was one of the biggest busts in NFL Draft history, as he never played a single down in the NFL, bouncing around many different leagues and teams, and last playing for the Memphis Express of the 2019 AAF. And now he's currently a quarterbacks coach at Winslow Township High School. And coming in at number 6 is Eddie Vander Esch, coming out of Auburn, California, who committed to play for UCLA. And he immediately started for UCLA in 2013 and was solid there, but was never really that great, and would go on to be selected in the 3rd round of the 2017 NFL Draft by Oakland. He only played 1 season at Oakland before beginning to bounce around the NFL and was overall a bust, last playing with the 49ers in 2021. And just cracking to the top 5 is Jalen Smith, coming out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, who committed to play for Notre Dame. He immediately dominated in his true freshman season at Notre Dame, having 66 tackles and an interception. After this, though, his next 2 seasons of college football, he was truly special and amazing. He became a consensus All-American and even won the Butkus Award, which allowed him to be selected in the 2nd round of the 2016 NFL Draft by the Dallas Cowboys. And in his first 4 seasons in the NFL with the Cowboys, he was great, as he'd make a Pro Bowl and was one of the best linebackers in the league. Sadly, though, injuries began to derail his career, and he began to bounce around many different teams, last playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers practice squad in 2023. And coming in at number 4 is Vernon Hargraves, coming out of Tampa, Florida, who committed to play for the Florida Gators. And he immediately dominated the SEC in his true freshman season at Florida, having 38 tackles and 3 interceptions. After this, he followed this up with 2 more outstanding seasons at Florida in 2015 and 2015, where he's a 3-time first-team All-SEC selection and a 2-time first-team All-American. He had an amazing college football resume, and then would go on to be selected 11th overall in the 2016 NFL Draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he was solid with the Bucs, but just never really lived up to the hype in the NFL, and was overall kind of a bust, not really playing much, and last playing for the Bengals in 2021 when he ran on the field during the Super Bowl. And just cracking to the top 3 is Laramie Tunsil, coming out of Lake City, Florida, who committed to play for Ole Miss. And he immediately started at Ole Miss and absolutely dominated, as he'd be a 2-time first-team All-SEC selection. And due to some problems, he fell in the draft and would be selected 13th overall in the 2016 NFL Draft by the Dolphins, where he was great there, but then would be traded off to the Texans in 2019. And with the Texans, he's been one of the best offensive linemen in the entire league, making 5 Pro Bowls. And coming in at number 2 is Chris Jones, coming out of Houston, Mississippi, who committed to play for Mississippi State. And in his 3 years at Mississippi State, he was good, but never really that great, but would go extremely viral at the NFL Combine. And after this, he would go on to be selected in the 2nd round of the 2016 NFL Draft by the Kansas City Chiefs, and so far with them, he's been truly special. He's been a complete game changer, having 80 sacks in his career, making 6 Pro Bowls, being a 3-team first-team All-Pro, and has also won 3 Super Bowls and will be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. And the number 1 college football recruit was Robert Kimdiche, coming out of Loganville, Georgia, who committed to play for Ole Miss. And in his first 2 seasons at Ole Miss, he didn't do very much, but then in 2015, he had a great year, as he became named a first-team All-SEC selection and a 2nd-team All-American. And based on potential alone, he he'd be selected 29th overall in the 2016 NFL Draft by the Arizona Cardinals, but sadly was a complete bust in the NFL. He bounced around many different teams and last played for the Edmonton Elks of the CFL in 2024.